Hello traders and welcome to the weekly Altcoin Setups volume 161. It's Iliya here, and as always I'm really happy to have you on the Trading Fanatic channel. As you know, in this video we are gonna have a look at the market, how it developed this week, what kind of opportunities we had, and most importantly what we can expect for the upcoming week, for the upcoming days. And just because we also had the monthly candle closure, we are also gonna have a look at it and see if it actually contains any information and something that we can potentially expect to happen. All right, so what is really lovely is that NFP right now is over just in the first week, and we have a whole September ahead of us. So quite excited about it. It is the last month of Q3. Q4 is already around the corner, and also 2023 is almost gonna be here. We're just gonna blink our eyes and New Year is gonna be here. So let's make sure to focus and to finish the year strong and to achieve our goals. I'm finally home. So I also started my final year of university, my graduation year. So quite excited for this one to finish. Of course, I have to do a lot of work, but that's fine. So I'm going to be a bit busy. My current high priority action is to actually complete the big revamp that I'm doing for my private program. And then I'm going to introduce some changes to the program as well. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And then I'm going to start posting more content on YouTube because I really miss doing some educational videos, some trading setups breakdown. Maybe we can go live as well. Let me know, guys, what you want to see in the comments, because I do this for you. I love it. But of course, I would like to account for your demands as well, right? Something to mention, well, you know that I do the giveaway every month. So when the monthly candle closes and we have that first analysis of the month, I pick a giveaway winner. And this month's giveaway winner is Mr. Conti, Smart Money Trader. He has been commenting very valuable insights, always sharing his process, always actually sharing his losses, but then telling me he brought it back. Really amazing, guys. So I can't wait to have in the team, bro. Hopefully you're going to also contribute to the team with your knowledge. So quite excited to have you in. Make sure to send me a message. All right. So without further ado, I think we can go straight into the video. Just make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell in order not to miss the content that is incoming. And if you already did, let's go. All right, as always, in order to get a broad view of the market, we're gonna get started with a Dixie. But before we do that, shout out to my amazing broker, Forex.com. They are great with amazing spreads. All the assets are there as well, so you can very well diversify your trading. They have two types of account, but I suggest you pick their eco account. You're gonna pay a little bit of commission, but every single lot that you accumulate will go towards planting 10 trees. I really think that is amazing. They're the first green broker out there, and they also document their processes and their achievements on their website. So make sure to visit their website, link is down in the description, and open your eco account so we can help the environment together. All right, so back to the Dixie. Another bullish week, and I would say also probably another bullish month, a pretty nice one. So what we see is that the previous month of July, we had a very big push and then a very big rejection. And what I usually tell you about wicks is that they tend to get filled, but you can see that we had a pretty unique formation right there. We immediately actually continued and filled that wick perfectly and also closed bullish. So we had a pretty bullish August, and of course that is due to fundamentals. This is the overall sentiment of the market right now, the dollar being the strongest. Why? Because of this. The Fed has hiked their rate to 2.50%, which is well, it's not the highest, right? Because we can see we have much higher ones. But again, this is America, this is the Fed, and this is pretty much what we compare everything to, right? So 2.50, it's bigger than the Aussies, bigger than Bank of England, and it's much bigger than the Euro. And of course, the JPY is still negative, right? So also what is expected right now is that we're going to have another hike. Mr. Powell was quite hawkish for the dollar, which means bullish. So we immediately saw that reaction. We can see that already the new monthly candle opened. Where's my mouse? It has been just, what is it, 1st of September? What date is even today? I don't know, but it's just been a few days that we already made the move higher, broke the previous monthly high, and it looks like we're gonna continue, okay? So nothing much to extract from the monthly time frame. Of course, we can go to the left and maybe see some potential areas of supply. There is that very big, I would say even quarterly level, because if I go to the quarter, those few candles will probably be one candle. How do I go to the quarter? Yeah, it's 3 months probably. Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Well, this is pretty much the strongest level that I have been looking for, which starts from 112 and ends at 120. So precisely which point is gonna get retested and held from, I don't know, but I really do like this level, which potentially looks like the price is gravitating towards. Look at all those bullish quarters, right? We started from July 2021 and we haven't had a bearish quarterly close, right? And we still continue to pump higher. So definitely the dollar has been bullish, okay? So going on to the weekly, we have a new break of structure, which is great, right? And we have a brand new area of demand, which is great also on the weekly time frame. But we know that the weekly time frame usually takes a lot of time to complete. So of course the question is, are we gonna open right now and continue pumping higher, or are we potentially going to initiate a weekly pullback before we continue higher? I would love this weekly pullback. It looks like a great setup, but of course the question is, are we gonna have it? And this is the weekly time frame. So if the weekly time frame starts a pullback, right, potentially the daily is gonna shift bearish, and also the fall is gonna turn bearish very nicely. Okay, so we can have a nice downtrend towards the level of 107 and then potentially continue higher. I usually don't like trading such setups because we're just breaking the new higher high. So pretty much our opportunity was right here. We had 3 weeks of consolidation where you should have stacked longs, and right now we're just eating the fruits of the long, right? So right now we made a new higher high, so the market can either continue going higher or it can initiate the pullback. We never know, right? Dropping onto the daily time frame. So yeah, what we can see is that we had a very tough time right there since the 23rd. Well, it's been like 8 days of a little bit of choppiness. We had this huge wick to the downside, huge wick up, then 2 days of consolidation, then we moved higher, then we had NFP. So it's not very clean, right? It's not very clean on the daily, but also let's just be real. The daily made a break of structure after creating a pullback. So technically right now, this is a potential daily higher low, right? I would take this wick and it will probably make more sense on the 4H. Yes. But we can see on the 4H, the market kind of came in, tried to tap the zone, missed it, then took the liquidity, then broke above, retested, broke above again, then came back for a second retest, which means that there was demand within those wicks. And then we went up and actually broke structure. So as you can see, kind of all time frames are right now pointing to bullishness, which is of course my bias. But it's a little bit hard to frame a potential level to actually trade from, okay? So if I get, once again, very objective, so where is my current major higher low? It's this one, right there. Why? Because this is the lowest point. It could also be this one before we initiated and broke structure. And if I just shift this line, because this is how the 4-hourly time frame should look like, right? We had a beautiful push that made a new higher high. We already pulled back, but we didn't retest this one. We're probably stopping from that wick and already making a move higher. So the question is right now, I think we can have a few scenarios. We are either gonna create a little pullback, stop right here and continue. And this is potentially gonna be if we have like a 15-minute shift, which we do have already. So there's our 15-minute shift. So the market can come in anywhere within this zone, right there, stop and continue going higher, okay? But also this low, right? This low can be utilized as liquidity so that the market can take it out, tap inside this candle right there, right? And then continue higher. So this is my second opportunity. And then of course, the third one is that those two lows are utilized as liquidity, potentially come in retesting this big wick and then continue higher. And of course, the fourth scenario, I don't want to give too much scenarios, but you know that I always do this because I know that what I say has a very high chance of not working out. So the actual skill of a trader is to flow with the market and understand the current price changes, right? The final scenario will be, of course, to initiate that weekly pullback. So we're going to have a clean 4-hourly shift, a nice bearish trend towards this big zone right there. Okay. But currently just looking at the 4H, I am focused on longs. The question is where from? Okay. So this is the most recent level. If I pull back right there and see a nice shift, then I can go long. If not, then I'm going to be looking for this one, which I think is my major higher low. I really like this zone, took liquidity, nice. We had nice flow right there. That could be a nice area. And then if this one fails, I'm already going to start thinking for shorts, but I'm just going to leave this 50% of this week as my last resort, like this sort of region right there. So that is the Dixie. I am still bullish. I'm just waiting for that little pullback. And of course, I'm going to let Monday play out, see what's happening, and then I'm going to strike for the remaining of the week. All right, let's have a look at the euro. Well, just looking at the monthly time frame, I cannot extract much information out of it, right? The key point was potentially this little zone right there that we thought the market can potentially continue bullish, right? Based on this push, this pullback, but then of course the market failed to take out this high, which made this low potentially weak, right? So this is how it actually worked out. So pretty much supply is in control, and as you can see, the highest time frames always give you the direction. But pretty much we were also stuck in a little bit of kind of a battle between supply and demand. So we have this push, we have this pullback, demand is holding, but here supply held. So it's really a matter of who gets the control. And of course we can right now very easily say that it was actually supply and the sellers. So I don't have data right there, so maybe I have to shift the broker or something. Yeah, so we are about to revisit some of levels from 2002, right? I see one level right there, and of course the most major level is right here, which we possibly had on the Dixie, like that 112 to 120 level. From here is like 0.92 all the way towards 0.85. So that is a potential level that we can currently, the price can be gravitating towards, but that is a lot of pips, right? That is a lot of pips, and usually I don't look too much for the long term. I don't tend to look too much on the left, right? But just so we know, we are potentially reaching into some areas that we can get a reaction from. Okay, so getting back to my Forex.com, because this is what I use. Nothing too much to extract on the monthly. What we can see right now is that we are lingering around the 1.0 handle, which is the parity, right? So we're pretty much staying right there, rejecting below it, closing above, rejecting below it, closing above. Right now, it looks like we're starting to break below it again, but we can see the struggle, right? But again, the market is overall bearish, and there is just no doubt about it, right? Why? Well, because of this. Once again, taking you to my other screen, we have the European interest rate 0.50 basis points. So they're the lowest one from like the major central banks. How much is the Swiss franc? Where is Switzerland? Switzerland. Oh, that's negative. Yeah, I was just wondering. They're a strange currency as well. But yeah, the ECB, they definitely have to take some action. Lagarde definitely has to start fighting with the inflation, because it's also getting out of hand. We have the oil, the gas crisis, and then all of that stuff. It's just mad, right? And I do think we're already seeing that in indices, right? Because usually how the economy goes, the indices and the stocks are going to react to that eventually, and we already see this in price. So quite excited to also have a look at the indices. But weekly time frame breakout structure on EU, very nice, which forms a brand new level of supply. We had a pretty nice forecast right there from this zone. The market very nicely pulled back. It also tapped 50% of the major leg, right? Through that very nice wick, and then we had a beautiful push to the downside. So pretty much, guys, you should be involved in that move towards breaking this low, right? I haven't been trading for a very long time. I actually feel really out of the market in terms of execution, because I still kind of check the markets. I make sure that I monitor, I know what's going on, but I haven't really executed a trade for a very long time, right? I finished last month profitable, but it was like 1.5% or something, so nothing major, but definitely looking to take it a step further, right? So last 2 weeks, overall kind of indecision, like just trying to close around the 1.0 handle. This week we rejected, closed a little bit kind of an indecision, doji or something. So not a lot of information that this contains. Of course, similar to the Dixie, we can initiate the bigger pullback towards 1.02, right? That could be an example. But yeah, you can see that we had a tough time right there. Like EU wasn't the best. And although there were some nice intraday opportunities, what I also spotted is that I was just kind of looking in the evening. My entry model never got retested, right? There were a lot of nice setups, but they never gave you an entry, which made me think, well, you have to be more flexible with your entries as well. But which immediately makes me think, well, no, you also have to be systematic. So if you don't get an entry, then you don't get a trade, right? And you wait for the next one. So nothing much to extract from the daily. Like I really wanted to see a deeper pullback. It depends if we draw like the leg from here. 50% hasn't been met yet. I was really looking forward to at least kind of retest this sort of region right there, which we haven't. We kind of just threw a big quick push lower, then we filled that wick, bearish engulfing candle. Then we have already 50% of the bearish engulfing candle when rejecting. So there is a high chance we might actually go ahead and break the low. And then what usually happens after we break a low is we might initiate a pullback. But Longer term, I haven't checked the news, but especially if we have some positivity from the ECB, maybe they signal a rate hike, or maybe they actually hike their rates, we can have a pop-up to the upside, which is what I really want to see. My alert right there for shorting still stays. Well, poor you. But yes, so that's the daily, dropping onto the 4H, hopefully to contain more information, but not really, right? So we overall had this big wick, right? And we were speaking about one of the webinars in my community that this is potentially a high probability area for the reversal. And what the market did is actually shifted the structure right there, right? So there is our trend change right there. And then what I usually say is that I look for the wick, and preferably like 50% of the wick. So we came in, we tapped, we tried to react, but we didn't actually break structure. Then we tapped again, then we broke structure, but it looks like it was just a liquidity grab. So maybe some of us can be stopped out on this move right there. So if you're looking for shorts right there, you get stopped out. The market comes in for a deeper tap, shows the rejection, pulls back. So this is potentially where you can be looking for trades. There is a continuation. There is a very nice retest that actually happened on Friday, and right now we continue going lower. Okay, so just reading the current order flow and price, it is bearish, right? We see supplies being respected. We have nice bearish momentum. Like, look at the bearish candles, bearish candle right there, bearish candles. I really see that the momentum is to the downside. And yes, right now, similarly to the Dixie, we can have a little pullback just to grab a little bit of liquidity, lower high, and then to head for the lows. We can just initiate for the lows from here. Or of course, as I said on the Dixie, there is a chance that we go even higher, but in order for me to say that we go higher, I first need the break of this level, right? Why? Because this is currently my major lower high. Some of you might think it's this one. Well, I usually take the most recent one, because if the most recent one gets broken, then there is a high chance it could be a reversal. Okay, so for me, a long will look like this. Okay, so EUR/USD suggests more bearishness, which I think then might result in bullishness on the Dixie. So let's see how it plays out. If I just quickly, out of curiosity, jump on the 50-minute time frame. Yeah, there were a couple of longs on Friday, like push pullback. There is a first long, push pullback, second long right there. You can even get a third one, and you can see that 1, 2, 3 drives into the supply, and then we just dropped, right? No entry. So there's our 50-minute shift precisely right here. So any pullback within this sort of level right there could be potential short opportunity, right? So I will be looking for something like this. Okay, so that's EUR/USD. I am bearish so far. Let's see how Monday opens. Let's see if we get a retest of that level. I will be interested to strike shorts from here, eventually looking to take out 0.99, right? Just to take it out, and then from there we have to flow and see what's gonna happen next. Right, so stay tuned for my flow with the markets Tuesday. All right, let's have a look at Euro-Yen. So on this pair, we are actually more bullish than bearish, because we have this beautiful monthly leg push to the upside that caused the break of structure. Then we had 1 month of very nice bearish engulfing candle to initiate the correction. And the last month actually pulled back beautifully below 50%. And potentially tapped into demand level, which I think we're gonna see somewhere like on the weekly and on the daily, and rejected very massively. So we're currently right here in the middle, and from here, of course, 2 things can happen. We can either continue to push towards the highs and make a new high, or we can initiate to the downside to pull back to a deeper level before we actually push higher, right? So this is why I don't like the higher timeframes and the monthly timeframe too much, because yes, it shows the direction, but it takes a lot of time to actually figure out what's going on. Okay, so I am bullish right now, and of course there are 2 scenarios: either a continuation into the highs immediately, or a nice push to the downside before we actually continue going higher. All right, so dropping onto the weekly, well, we can see that the market is pretty much responding from a weekly zone as well, because then we have this weekly push, a weekly pullback, then a weekly push that made a new high. So technically the higher low on the weekly was right here. The market perfectly came in, went below 50% of the monthly push, tapped the weekly higher low, and yeah, then we had 3 weeks of consolidation. But it looks like right now we kind of popped into the highs, and we might be about to encounter this little supply. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Okay, and you know that I'm not a huge fan of the JPYs. They have been giving me a really hard time to analyze. I don't enjoy it, that's why I don't trade them as well. But yes, right now, if you just jump on the daily, right, Technically, we can say that the daily is a bit bearish because we have this again, this push, this pullback, then a push that created a new lower low. Then we have a pullback right there, complex correction. Right now we pumped into the highs. Once again, retesting that weekly zone. And we also took a little bit of liquidity just right here. Okay, so there is a high chance we pop to the downside as well. But if you also consider that, the monthly is bullish, the weekly is bullish, and right now the daily is also starting to kind of show us a shift and a failure to make a new lower low, you can say, okay, well, I see this push as a break of structure, so there is my major daily higher low. So currently I am trading within this range, right? So you can frame the market like this. But again, what we can see on the Forex right now is that it looks a bit extended, and yes, it is forming higher lows, but we always also have to acknowledge what is going on the left, which is a pretty major supply, right? And we also took some liquidity within the supply, so that is a low right there that was taken, and also this one was taken as well. So lots of liquidity has been taken within this supply zone, so I do think we are about to dip a little bit, okay? But I am not going short until I see a violation of this demand level right there, because again, technically the 4-hourly time frame right now is bullish. Higher high, higher low, higher high. So right now we are just about to potentially form a higher low. So if you're interested, then what I would suggest you drop to the 15-minute and see how price responds from this whole area. Like if we have a drop to the downside, take some liquidity potentially below this low, then a nice shift of structure retest, then you can go long. All right, with a nice 15-minute confirmation. But if the market continues to break to the downside, maybe the euro gets very weak on market open and we break below the zone, then I will be interested if we can actually get a short, because we also have like 1, 2, 3 drives into the highs, and if we get a reversal, then I think it's going to be a nice signal to potentially start taking shorts, and then of course consider this overall daily leg, right? Filling in this empty space, tapping into this demand, and then from there we're gonna see what's gonna happen, which can already be next week. Okay, so that's my EJ outlook. Again, weekly bullish, daily monthly bullish, weekly bullish, daily kind of 50-50. 4-hourly is currently bullish, but of course if I merge it also with this daily supply, we can have a little pullback. So let's see, right? But once again, as I said, if you get a nice entry opportunity within this area, strike on it, and if you lose, then you shift your buys, and then you're going to win on the next one. All right, so that's your yen. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at the Aussies, starting from AU. So this one is a bit tricky. Maybe we can explore the quarterly time frame, because what we have on the quarter is this beautiful most recent push to the downside. Then we have this beautiful pullback, and the market perfectly respected this quarterly supply, right? And we're right now rejecting on the way down. Okay, so I do feel like the Aussie is more bearish than bullish on the highest time frames. And if you again go to the monthly time frame, so again, in order for the market to pull back towards this quarterly level, the monthly time frame actually shifted bullish, which happened right here. Pullback, higher low, push, higher high. The market then consolidates. We can see how the market actually stopped right here, accumulated, and then initiated outside. Okay, so if I'm very technical, that right here is my higher low. Right, so the market actually really tried hard. You can see the interaction from this zone. Why? Because it's a monthly higher low, right? So tapped, responded, tapped again, broke below it, responded again, then came in again, rejected below it, and then we just right now see how it's starting to close below, right? But I can say that I am overall bearish right now on the Aussie, and of course, there is. I don't want to draw a zone like this, but there is potentially where the market is currently attracted towards, like I would say 0.65, 0.6650, right? This big candle, right? The region of this big candle, because this is when we actually shifted the structure. So somewhere within this big zone, there is a nice demand level sitting in. And yeah, if you go to the weekly time frame, we can see this big sell and then a big buy. So it's a bit hard to really nail down the precise zone, right? So I'm not gonna actually do this, but what I usually do is just focus on, okay, what is happening right now? Okay, so we went for a nice liquidity spike with this wick. We shifted structure bearish right there. Then we pull back. Was it 50%? There it is. Well, I always tell you the market tends to pull back 50% before it goes. Then we go and we create a new range. So there is our brand new break of structure right here. While the market does, it pulls back. Where to? Well, of course, above 50%. And what we had is a beautiful formation right there. This beautiful bullish and a massive bearish formation. Then we had a pullback. And what I told you actually last week is that the setup is already playing, right? So we have the bullish bearish formation, 50% pullback of the engulfing candle. There it is. And I expected this week to go bearish. I think last weekly outlook played out pretty nicely, right? So we're having a nice continuation to the downside right now. Eventual target 0.67, right, for a new lower low. So taking this into consideration, dropping onto the daily, we can see that the daily has also shifted structure, shift with the wicks right there, but then we had a pullback. The market respected this little zone that we can see perfectly on the hourly time frame. And we have that same formation, this beautiful bullish push, bearish exit, pullback 50%. So we have that same formation just right now on the weekly time frame. And there is on the daily. Bullish, bearish, 50% pullback of the engulfing candle, continuation lower, right? So this really shows how the market is fractal. So everything, like a piece of knowledge that you have, like a formation, supply and demand, it works on every time frame, right? So then, of course, taking this information and transferring it onto the FOH, we kind of have the same once again. So we have the market pulling us back, tapping into the supply zone, taking this high as liquidity, then shifting massively, causing a break of structure. And then what we have is we pull back to the new supply zone. How did we pull back? Again, we pushed, we slowed down, massive bullishness, big bearish exit, right? So then what the market does, it pulls back. We don't have like a nice bearish engulfing candle, but we pretty much have it. The market retested and continued going lower. So the flow on the Aussie is really bearish right now. So the question is, what do I expect to happen? Well, just right now, it looks a little bit tricky, right? We have some beautiful deliveries this week, right? But just right now, I'm kind of thinking about it. I struggle a little bit to identify like the major lower high. It looks like it was that one. It's a bit too low, but it was actually the valid one. Right now, we're starting to wick above it, right? So is there a chance for a higher pullback, right? Maybe we can come and retest this zone and use this as a liquidity area, right? So we can have a setup like this. That could be nice, right? But currently, I am a little bit doubtful, right? We can see that we just made a push lower. The weekly made a push lower. The daily is currently at a lower low. So there is a chance we initiate the bullish pullback. But in order for me to start going long, I need more signs, right? So I need to see, for example, this little zone hold right there, the 15-minute to shift nicely, which we kind of see already a little bit, but I'm just gonna let Monday play out to just show me that extra sign in order to become more clear in my analysis. Okay, so Aussie dollar is completely bearish, right? Quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, everything is bearish. Right now, the question is how do we get in, right? And in order for me to get in, I need a full hourly setup. So right now I'm looking either for a deeper pullback right there around 0.69, a beautiful round number, or a continuation to the downside like this to create a new lower low. So then I'm gonna just flow with the markets until 0.68, 66.80, right? Which is this lower low. Okay, so that's my AU analysis. I do think we need a few extra confluences, so I'm waiting for Monday to get more data, and then of course I'm gonna give you an update on Tuesday. Aussie Yen, again, I don't like JPYs right now, but here we go. Bullish monthly candle, but you can see how compressed they look. I just don't love it too much. Weekly time frame, absolutely nothing. We just have like a pennant, a flag formation, right? Nothing much on the left. We have this as a major high, and currently we're responding from this supply zone right here. But we have been staying in this supply zone for quite a while, right? We have one drive, two drives. We haven't had the third one, right? Which makes me think we might actually attack this high as a third drive and then start reversing. But yeah, if this happens, then we're gonna know, so we can actually flow with it. Dropping onto the daily, it's even harder, right? What is the market doing? It's chopping, right? Since like June, we just up, down, spike below, then continues, then spike above. It's just unclear, right? So I cannot really extract anything. So right now we're just about to retest this very important level. We actually did, we rejected it, but I can see right now that the 4-hourly structure did not actually shift to bearish. So there it is. Well, technically it kind of did. Man, I just hate those JPYs. So we have the break of the high here, then we have a break of the low right there. So right now the market is going to test this supply, right? So let's see. Well, once again, I need more signs on this one. Yes, on the 4-hourly time frame, it doesn't look that bad because we have that bullish order flow right there that you can just jump in and take longs. But when I'm not sure of like the hard time frame direction, when I'm not sure of the analysis, then I just don't trade. And this one is all JPYs at all are giving me a hard time, right? So what I need to see on this one is just how it goes. If you're going long, well, we should be long already from some of these choppy prices right there. And if I want to go short, I need to see this go right there. So then I can do this, okay? Technically, we have a reversal pattern like 1, 2, 3 drives into the highs, taking this high right there as liquidity, tapping inside a major supply. So there is a chance for bearishness. So we're about to see, okay? But in order for me to go short, I once again need to see confirmation as a break of demand and a shift of structure, okay? So that's the Aussies. We have some clean setups. Aussie USD, not that much. We can expect like a deeper pullback to the upside, or it can just continue flushing from now. AJ needs more conferences. So for the Aussie, I need more time. What we discussed last week is that we can see that the NZD is definitely weaker than the Aussie. We see this reflecting in price. I don't know why. It's probably because of oil or something like this. I'm not pretty sure. But yes, what we can say for the NZD is that it's currently bearish, right? We have that same pattern if I go to the quarterly time frame, like we pulled back towards this supply zone right there, and right now we're massively rejecting from it and actually going down. Like look at the last quarter, a massive engulfing candle, then we had a little pullback, and right now we are again about to close bearish. So definitely this market is bearish. Monthly time frame, nothing too much to extract, right? So what we can expect is some sort of a reaction maybe from this wick that we're currently traveling towards. But I see that we also had the momentum kicking in right here. So somewhere within this area, like 0.60 looks like a nice round number, is where we can expect a potential reaction, right? And we can see that kind of the cluster is right here. Like look at that. So if we just explore the weekly, the market dropped, consolidate, and then we just boom. This is where the move started. So pretty much this is where we can expect a reaction, which is just where we are at right now. And you can see the market taps, massively reacts, but what it does, it just reacts to pull back towards the supply on the left, then to continue going lower, okay? And unfortunately on this one, we are already breaking the new lower low. So right now we have to see what's going on. Are we gonna continue pushing lower, or are we gonna initiate a pullback, okay? So if you're looking for a pullback, well, that is a good zone, a bearish engulfing candle. You can eventually also use the 50% pullback of the engulfing candle strategy. But if I go to the daily, maybe we can refine it a little bit. I don't think so. Like massive buy, a massive sell, little pullback, push. Daily doesn't give me a lot of data, a lot of information. It just gives me like refined areas like this, which we're probably gonna see on the 4H. Yeah. So what I usually do is I just don't do like monthly, weekly, daily, because I get confused. Usually what I do is just 4H, right? But right now we do those in order to train our top-down analysis skills and really try to determine where the market is going next. So it's pretty clear that it's bearish, but again, we have to take into account that it's a bit extended right now, right? So we have been pushing down for quite a long time, and right now we are just taking a new lower low, which is a liquidity gap, so we can expect a reaction. Like you can see, after we take a lower low, we have a reaction, but then we continue going lower. So right now we took a lower low, we can have a reaction, but then of course we can continue going lower, okay? So knowing that we're staying in a major demand and then going on to the 4-hourly time frame, I don't love this price action. It's kind of like a push, one candle pullback, push, one candle pullback, push. So if I'm really technical, then of course right now we have a break of structure right there, which means that the market is turning bullish. So we can have a demand and do something like this. But just looking at all the hard time frames, I just don't want to go bullish on this one right now, right? If you base this trade on a liquidity gap below like a major old low, so you actually go against it, then that's fine, right? But I don't usually trade like this, okay? So for example, for me, that will be a beautiful setup. There is a massive expansion. There is just a quick retest. That's a beautiful setup, right? But right now you can see this whole price right there is getting a little bit compressed. So something is about to happen, okay? So what I'm monitoring is this supply level right there. I would love to see this one taken as liquidity. So if you can get a quick long, then that's fine. Ride it towards like 61.50 and then see what happens, okay? And just keep in mind that this pair is overall bearish, so your highest probability will be on a bearish trade, right? On a short trade. So let's give it some time. Like the Aussies and the NZDs need a bit time. Yeah, NJ, it looks like it flips bullish a little bit. Like monthly time frame is just throwing wicks. Nothing too much to extract. Like we had this month where the market really filled the empty space and actually tapped inside the demand level right there. Well, we didn't quite made it there, but it threw a big retest. Then we just chopped around, right? And we're just in a consolidation. Like if I go on the weekly, there it is. Like we're in an overall range. Yes, we had this pullback, which is great, but then since then we have been chopping around, dropping onto the daily. We have a chop, and of course we can again do the same analysis that we're failing to break the highs. The market retesting this zone right here, then pushing lower but failing to cause anything, and right now it looks like we're shifting higher. We were stuck 17 days in a consolidation, so there it is, right? Just up down, then we spike the lows, then we push, pull back. So it looks like we're slightly flipping to bullishness, but I just don't trust this one, right? We are about to tap into, well, we already did perfect 50% tap of this a buy to sell pattern right there, and the responding from it. But of course from the downside we also have this, right? So right now it's about the battle of supply and demand, who is gonna win. Of course, kind of hard time frame are suggesting bullishness, but I also see that whole failures of failing to break below and failing to break above as well. So it's more of a range, so we have to wait, right? But if you ask me what I will do, well, what I'm gonna do is wait for the market to retest right there, drop to the 50-minute time frame, wait for an entry criteria, and then potentially look to see if I can go long. If this level gets invalidated, then I will be looking to see if I can get short. All right, so those are my two scenarios. I'm just letting it go right now, waiting for this level to tap and see what's gonna happen. 50-minute, we're currently in a bearish market, so we can definitely expect to push lower. So let's see if that's gonna happen. But once again, guys, the NZDs and also the Aussies do need some time, right? Do need some setup. So let's wait for Monday and then see if we can strike on Tuesday. I mean, look at that monthly closure on UJ. All right, so we have been closing like this for quite a while, just having maybe a month of a little slowdown, a month of a little bearish close, and then we just continue to rampage to the highs. And that perfectly makes sense, right? The interest rate on the dollar is very high while the JPY interest rate is negative, right? So it really makes sense for this one to be going up, okay? So what we can extract from the monthly time frame, where we had a beautiful bullish candle, right now we're making a new monthly high. The quarterly time frame we can analyze after the next monthly closure. Yeah, there's no data right there, but it's just pumping higher, right? It's just pumping higher. UJ has been amazing for like trend followers or like big swingers, right? So nothing to extract from the monthly, just a bullish candle, well, which suggests bullishness, but we already know that quite some time ago. A beautiful pullback that we had on the 1st of August. Then we kind of, that second week of August was when you should be looking for longs, right? And then right now we have 3 bullish weeks going for a new high, right? Which technically makes this our major high low. Just right there. So the question is right now, are we going to initiate the pullback and then continue higher? Well, that would be lovely, right? We can see right now that the market is kind of starting to give us pullbacks. While before, we're like just push, chop around, massive push, little pullback. Right now it's starting to balance out a little bit. So we have a higher low, higher high, beautiful higher low, higher high. So hopefully we get another one, right? But in order to initiate the weekly pullback, right, we are going to have potentially a daily and a full hourly shift. So I usually hate price like this when it's extended because we have to wait a lot. We have to wait right now for the full hourly time frame to shift in order to start taking shorts, or we just continue with the longs. There is a little daily demand that the market can react to, but yeah, we can see the 50% of the current weekly range is right there resonating with that big demand that we drew. Okay, so the high hasn't been formed yet because we're in this push phase. We haven't initiated a pullback yet. And also dropping onto the 4H time frame, yeah, nothing too much. It just keeps impulsing to the upside. Maybe you get like those little pullbacks, or maybe you get ranges like this, then a nice sharp spike, then a push, a new range, push again. So for me right now, it's really hard to read the yen, especially like on the 4-hourly time frame, because it's just impulsing, right? So we have a nice range right here, but after this range, we were technically forming little higher lows, and yeah, this is a potential higher low right there. So I will be looking for any sort of pullback right towards this kind of zones, and then if I get a nice confirmation, I will be looking to take a long. But I'm also aware that the weekly is taking out a major high and creating a new high. It's a bit extended. Daily is also kind of pushing very strongly. So we can start expecting a pullback, which will be lovely. Okay, but of course we are gonna see when that is gonna happen, when the 4-hourly time frame shifts. Okay, so how are we gonna see this? Well, maybe a tap, failure to break, and then a break below, or just an immediate break below this level. We are gonna see it, and I'm gonna let you know. Okay, so currently UJ is absolutely bullish. Well, I'm absolutely bullish on the pair, but of course we have to be realistic and think where can we get in from. So any pullback will be nice, but of course doing all of this hard time frame analysis, it makes sense for the market to pull back towards 135.50. But even if it does to 137, I will be interested because I know that the yen does not pull back much, right? And what you can do also on this pair is play with the 38.2 FIP, right? So look at that, 38.2 is precisely at this daily zone, right? So use it wisely, right? So let me know what you also think about the yen pairs, right? I know there are a lot of you JPY traders. What do you think? Are they going up? Are they going down? What is your view? Let me know. Next on the list are the GBPs, and starting with the monster GBP USD, it's pretty clean that this pair is just bearish, right? Nothing more to say. We're potentially headed towards this zone right there, which is what is it, 1.140, I would say. Is it? Yeah, 1.140 is where we're potentially headed right now. 1.14, I should say. Massive bearish monthly candle right now. The market already opens and already starts to go lower, right? So it's definitely right now attracted. Let me actually draw this level correctly. Yeah, we can see right now it's 1.14, right? So I know that GU loves to kind of gravitate towards liquidity. It takes liquidity, then it goes, right? So currently the magnet is this low, right? Dropping onto the weekly time frame, we had a beautiful pullback right there. Bearish, bearish, bearish. So if you want the highest quality trade, then there it is, right? Hopefully, I have coded actually in one of my weekly outlooks. I have to go back to see, right? Sometimes I think I have to rewatch my outlooks to actually see whether the analysis plays out long term. But I don't follow a lot of pairs. I mainly follow EU, right? So I pretty much know that EU has been playing out nicely. So massive bearishness, right? So we are currently extended, which I don't like because I love for the market to be pulling back. So then I can search for those continuation setups. But right now we're just pushing towards this low. So when the market does this, there is a high chance we're just going to open, guys, and just take out the low. And then from there, the market can just start ranging. It can either continue to go down or it can initiate a pullback, which will be lovely, right? So technically right now we have a new lower low. So there is our supply. So this is where we would love to short from, but the market is too far away right now. So there is nothing we can do. On the daily time frame, we also have that little daily lower high that we can engage from. But once again, it has been 5 bearish days, right? So the market open, just continue to go lower, right? And then on the 4H, I think that there were a couple of opportunities, right? So since we formed this push, then we pull back, grab liquidity right there, continue to break structure. Then, yeah, depending on how you draw your zone, if you take like a whole zone like this, or maybe you took those wicks, right? Which is usually those hidden supply and demand areas, you could have gotten an entry right there, but pretty much that is your entry opportunity right here. And then the market continues to go, little pullback, continues to go, little pullback, continues to go, right? So the last respected one is this one. We just also wicked. So the market is really, guys, at a lower low right now, right? So we have a monthly, weekly, daily, and 4-hourly lower low. So a lot of things can happen. I usually hate this situation, and we've had this situation quite a few times right now. The market always closes extended, is always creating a higher high or a lower low. So usually it's very hard to forecast what is going to happen. Okay, so technically right now, my major lower high is going to be within this wicks. So if we pull back towards this wicks, then I will be interested to sell. The market can also just pop to the downside. Then, of course, we can see how we can follow the flow onto 1.14. Right, 1.14 is my target. Yeah, it could be the case that the market actually initiates a big pullback from here, but I don't think so, because usually GU will first, where is that zone? Will first grab that low and then potentially initiate the pullback after it has the liquidity. Right, so that's what I think, but of course that might not happen. So again, for GU, we need to flow with the market, because right now it's pretty hard to see what's going to happen. right? Yes, on the 50-minute there is NFP, like we very nicely tapped supply, then pushed lower, then pulled back, didn't actually break the wick, formed perfectly flat highs, right, which is not good as well, right? Then push to the downside. So we can even come in, take out the flat highs, tap inside the zone, and then short. Okay, a lot of things can happen. So stay tuned for Monday. Let Monday play out. Let it actually the market show you its hands. Don't try. I actually hate forecasting because our job is to actually trade, right? To trade what is happening right now. And yes, we need to potentially forecast. But for me, for day traders, I just need to forecast what is going to happen in this session. And the majority of the times, I don't need all of that analysis, right? So just let it go, flow with the markets, and let's see what's going to happen. I'm going to update you on Tuesday. But of course, I am bearish on GU, and I do think we're going to go ahead and the target 1.1420 or just 1.14. Okay. My best friend, GJ. Let's see what's happening. Well, man, those JPY pairs, I just don't want to do it. This, okay. So we have, yeah, if we consider Wix's breaks, is the liquidity gap, is the break? Because I see a demand level within this wick that is also coming from this guy right there. Come on. There it is. So we have a bullish order flow on the monthly time frame, right? But it's very sketchy. It's very hard to read, right? Weekly time frame looks a little bit better. We have this beautiful push. We have this nice pullback, right? That pulled us back towards the 50%. Very nice. Then the market actually went ahead and took out the high, which is what was supposed to happen, right? Because usually when you have like a push 50% pullback, the market is going to go ahead and break the high, technically, okay? And technically we did this. But since then, look what's happening. Like it's been 77 days that we're just throwing wicks without a clear direction, right? Dropping onto the daily, it is the same. I just have a very hard time reading GJ, and I know a lot of you do trade GJ, but what I said on just on the previous pair is that day traders, we need to know what's gonna happen during the session, right? So doing all that analysis, sometimes it's, I don't want to say it's useless, right? Because top-down analysis is king, but if you're looking to grab a few pips per day on like on the 50-minute time frame, you should not be worried about all of this consolidation, right? I am overall bullish on GJ, right? I'm overall bullish on GJ, but the pound being so weak and then USD JPY being so strong, it just doesn't make sense for this pair to move, and this is why we have a consolidation, and this is why I also don't like the JPYs, right? So we have a consolidation on the daily, and what we have on the 4H is another consolidation. So if I just remove the zone, this is what we're currently looking at. I just can't read this price, right? So we had a, yeah, if I start a little bit from the left, we had a shift right there. The market responded from this, but then it continued. Okay, sure, it broke that zone right there. So we have technically a new demand right there. I think that was the same analysis I did last week, right? First tap, second tap, third tap, fourth, fifth, about to have the sixth tap without making anything. So I really don't know what's going to happen. Okay, so I'm waiting for this market to exit this consolidation. Maybe it's bullish, so it's going to come in to take all the liquidity and then reverse. That could happen, right? Maybe it's going to even rocket from current price, because it looks like we pushed. We're currently pulling back to a new level of demand. How strong that demand is, I don't know. It didn't really cause anything major, right? But of course, even intraday, it looks kind of wicked to me, a little bit funny, right? So let me know, guys. I know a lot of you trade GJ, so are you having success with GJ right now? Do you find it easy to trade? I don't trade GJ, but I find it really hard to analyze. So again, GJ needs time, and I really need to see this pair cleanly before I actually trade it, okay? GU is currently really extended to the downside, so we have a lot of situations on this one, so it also needs some time, so letting it go. Euro GBP, we can clearly see right now that the euro is definitely stronger than the pound, right? We had a massive week of bullishness right there, closing a very massive bullish weekly candle. Are we gonna head and break the high right there? Oh, that is possible. Massive monthly bullish closure as well. So definitely looks like that the euro is stronger than the pound. I don't know why. The pound has a higher interest rate. I don't know, maybe it's another kind of fundamental factors. But yes, I don't never trade or look at Euro GBP. I just use it like this, right? So Euro is more bullish, GU is more bearish. But as I said, we already see this in price. We see that, for example, EU is kind of having, it's pulling back deeper right? It's more corrective. When it pushes lower, it's not that strong. But even if I go to GU right now, like look at that, just boom, little pullback, boom, pullback, boom, massive drops, right? We can clearly see that it's more bearish. So that's my GBP analysis, guys. I think the majority of the pairs right now are kind of breaking major highs or extended, so they all need some time. So of course, let's be patient. That's what the game is all about. Goldie closes with a nice bearish candle, right? So we first opened, we threw a little wick to the upside that we actually went inside and tapped into a nice level of supply. And then we formed this very nice bearish candle, filling again 50% of that wick, which is what usually happens. And right now we're just opened and we are commencing with a little consolidation right there in the bottom. So again, I still think we are going to attack like 1676, which is those two major lows, right? As long as the dollar keeps pushing higher, right? Weekly time frame, beautiful push to the downside, beautiful pullback above 50%, tapping into the zone that actually initiated the move lower. And right now we are again very close to making a new lower low. So hopefully a lot of you are shorting gold. There is a little lower high that formed on the daily, right? There it is. So we had a tap inside, the market shifted. Yeah, I think the daily shift occurred right here, but again, it also, if you want to be cleaner, a nice pullback, there is the daily shift. We didn't pull back too deep towards this zone. We just stopped for a bit, like probably a 38.2. Well, oh no, it was actually 50%. Well, it depends on how you draw it. If you take it from the top, well, almost, but definitely 38.2, right? Probably if I go on the foliage, there is going to be some sort of a zone right there that the market responded to. There it is. And right now we continue to drop to the downside. So I'm pretty bearish on gold, right? The question is, are we just going to pop to the downside right now, or are we going to initiate the bigger pullback, right? Somewhere towards right there, because we have a new daily range. There is 50%. So drop to the 40 time frame, see what is there. I see like this big pullback that can act like as a drop. It's not really a base, it's more like a buy to sell drop, right? So I'm interested to sell from that level. We have one that is reacting from right here right now, but I would love to utilize this as liquidity, right? So we have a tap inside right there. Then we see a quick shift and then we go for the lows, right? 1680. This is where we eventually want to see price. So let me know, you gold experts, what are you looking for on gold? Do you think we're going to drop from current price and just attack the lows? Do you think we're going to have a pullback? If I'm trading gold like this, if I was trading gold, which I'm not, I'm too scared to trade this volatile guy, I would look for something like this, right? A nice pullback into the supply and then a potential short. So I look forward to your outlook as well. A beautiful play out on indices this week. So let's have a look what actually happened, right? So a very nice bearish monthly closure on US 30, it's bearish on NASDAQ, and it's bearish on S&P. They're all with a nice wick on top, which suggests also rejection. And the rejection combined with a very nice kind of bearish engulfing close is a really strong bearish indication, right? So I do think right now we are about to fall, right? Dropping onto the weekly, we had an amazing forecast of the market pulling back towards this zone. That was a potential zone for reaction, but we utilized this as liquidity to actually pull back towards this zone right there that hasn't been retested and had also a lot of liquidity to take, right? So we came in, we just shifted the structure, and from then we just plummeted, right? So just to go back to the weekly once again, right now we're about to encounter demand, right? And this demand actually kind of shifted the structure and initiated a pullback. So this demand, I'm not gonna go like long all the way up. I can start scaling very slowly, right? Because right now the market is getting a dip, right? Usually in a bull market, you tend to buy old dips, right? Personally, that's my strategy. I have a specific percentage and a specific monetary amount that I buy at specific dips, right? So that could be an amazing opportunity for buy. But hey, we are in a bearish market, right? But that doesn't mean you cannot dollar cost average. I am looking to see this zone right there. So that means we can go ahead right now and potentially attack the low, like 30K around 29.50 could be a potential target zone that we can target. But right now we can have a little bit of a rebound, right? Because we're tapping into major demand. So that week, what I expected is, again, as I keep telling you, when the market initiates with massive momentum, this is the outlook that I had on Tuesday, it played out very nicely, right? So we had a nice pullback. I did not expect this push, massive drop lower, and then the market just gives you a pullback and then it continues to go. So it didn't pull back as deep, right? So usually I will drop this level so we can see that it didn't tap, but usually in such moves you also have to look at the whole range because the market just tends to throw you a quick break and retest and go, right? So we tapped into demand. You can already see the reaction. It went ahead and took out this high right there and then massively reacted. So right now, once again, guys, I'm a little bit pissed, but all the pairs are right now making either a higher high or a lower low. So it's very hard to say what's going to happen. If we were like on a pullback stage, like if we have a push, if we have a push and the market is on a pullback stage, I can very well say, well, we are below 50%. There is demand. I'm going to tap right there. We're going to look for the shift and go long, right? But no, we don't have the situation right now because the majority of the pairs are extended. So this is my last supply then. So if the market breaks and then comes back right there, I'll be looking for shorts, right? But I'm very interested to see how the market is going to respond from here. There is a potential target that we can look to attack. So if you get an opportunity to go short, then I do think it's a good opportunity because we're just tapping into the demand and potentially more liquidity is going to take it. And I do believe this low will go right there. So if you get a pullback towards the most recent supply that also took liquidity, I do think you can definitely catch a nice short, right? So that's US 30. Nasdaq, same thing, right? So we started with a little pullback, we pushed, we then pulled back, we pushed again, and we're already breaking below demand levels on the left. So nice play out on this one as well. Monthly candle bearish, right? So it nicely responded bullishness, but right now we just pulled back once again. Where to? 50%. There it is. Pull back 50% right there. No, right? So, but almost. So dropping onto the weekly, push, pull back right now, potentially initiating lower, but also about to tap into demand. That caused a weekly shift of structure, right? So that's what I tell you. We're going to have a reaction potentially. And Nasdaq already took a little bit of liquidity below this low. So if I go and explore it on the 4H, yes, we have another one to potentially attack right there, which is the next one. What I can see is that the flow on this pair is so far bearish, right? We have currently the 4-hourly supply in control, already on the move lower. So if you have like something like this, then that's gonna be nice with a target that guy right there. But if we right now initiate and break this low right there, then I'm gonna be looking to see if we can get any pullback higher. So eventually, right, I'm bearish right now, but we can expect like a daily pullback because again, we are a bit extended. We're tapping into weekly demand, so there is a chance we might get a little rebound before making a new lower low, right? S&P, I am looking to scale in on S&P a little bit, right? Because it's dipping, but I do expect even lower prices, so I'm patiently waiting. We grabbed liquidity, nice bearishness right now, and about to tap into a strong demand. This is why I'm gonna buy, and of course, if it goes to drawdown, I don't care because I'm gonna buy even more from the lows. So daily zone right there. So this is where we can potentially expect the market to pull back if we actually find support or demand from this big weekly demand area. We took liquidity below this low. Right there, we can see that we got the reaction, but this low is not within our zone. So that is a nice one, but yeah, we're gonna go so low on this one. Well, as soon as we get inside this demand zone, I'm gonna be all eyes to see if we can get any kind of reversal signal. But of course, I'm overall bearish on the index, right? So we can see this level wasn't tapped, but then we had a new one, which got tapped, but it actually got a little bit spiked above, right? And right now we're initiating lower, so there is a high chance we're gonna open bearish, right? Then of course, if you wish, you can look for a pullback like this and then attack the lows, and then from there we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So not this one. So stay tuned for Tuesday. Although the indices don't tend to move a lot on Monday, well, of course, if there is some big news, they could. But right now I would expect a little bit of a slowdown from this demand. So let's see, right? And of course, if you are investing for the long term, I do think right now it's a good time to buy because again, the lowest point was right here. So you're buying close to the lowest point, right? And if the lowest points get broken, then you even buy more with a higher amount of money. So you can then balance out your buys right there. Okay. Let me know if you want me to do more videos on stocks. Well, more videos. I should start doing stock videos as well because I actually love it. Crypto. Yeah, overall bearish. I'm really not into crypto. I kind of got pretty pessimistic about it after what happened and lost my money. So it's more like people say it's decentralized. It's more on a hype. It doesn't have like real value behind it. It's not like a stock which you can go analyze the balance sheet, see the income, see the actual people working behind it. Crypto, I don't know, for quick money, it's great, right? For trading, it's good. Daily time frame, we very nicely, weekly actually, we pull back towards the 50%, very nicely initiating lower. But we can see this week we were in an overall chop. The market is potentially responding from this little demand, right? So again, right now, it's all about a battle of supply and demand. We had that nice pullback, so technically I'm bearish right now, and this was my zone, which hasn't been retested, so we're just ranging right now. So I really don't know what to expect, right? I would love to have something like this, right? So right now we can say that this is a consolidation, building liquidity, spike above, and then continuation lower. This is what I would love to see on Bitcoin. Ethereum looks actually better. Because we tapped into this demand, right? So we reacted very nicely, but then what we did is 1, 2, 3 drives into supply, actually came inside and tapped into the wick, right? So there's the wick, we tapped inside into the wick, and right now we have to zoom in and wait for that 4-hourly shift. So that looks like the demand, right? We have a little bit of a slowdown right there, so that looks like the demand. So what I need to see is a nice break below, then a retest, and then I will be interested to taking shorts on Ethereum, right? So that is not yet a strong supply because it hasn't really broken like the major one, but it definitely already looks like a nice range manipulation shift. So if we get a retest towards this zone right there, I do think it could be interesting for shorts. Okay, so I'm overall bearish on crypto. I'm also bearish on the indices, but again, as I said, I think it's a good time to stack up a little bit, right? Because we're in a nice pullback. I was buying a lot right there, so I was in great profits right here. Of course, I don't take out because then I have to pay tax, so I just hold them, right? And I do think right now, if you get at the same place, it's good to stack more, and if you continue going lower, then it's good to stack even more. Okay, but overall indices are bearish, so if you're day trading them, then shorts are your best bet. Okay, so guys, this is where I'm gonna end it. I think this one is a bit too long because I went into great details, right? I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you did, right? Let me know what you want to see more, and yeah, make sure to subscribe because I have some content incoming for you pretty soon. And yes, wishing you a lovely weekend, and talk to you on Tuesday.